Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Kapaya Yash, back with another lesson. I would like to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash, and double honor to the men of great millstone that is out there on the highway and byway, pushing this truth day in and day out, also pushing the truth over the worldwide internet, reaching the elect to pull them out of a two-thirds state of mind so that we can be beamed up on those chairs of salvation to live in the kingdom under King David and the supreme king Yahushua, which he has the title of command and authority and rulership over heaven and earth. Those title was given to Yahushua by his father Yahweh. Also, I'm not a member of GMS, but I believe GMS has the 100% truth of the Bible to the Akim and the Aqua, which are the men and women that listen, learn, continue to pray for more faith, repent, and fast, and keep the laws and commandments to the best of your ability. As it states in John 14:15, if ye love me, keep my commandment. Also, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 letters here, the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of man. What you're about to see is something very biased towards, especially towards Jake. And Shalom, this is pretty much a Sabbath sit down, and I'm doing this here from my vehicle. Um, I have Salaki for the noise, but um, I have some co-workers, that stay next door to me, and like they say, the prophet of GMS, you got to be like Superman, Clark Kent. You know, you want to be in disguise. You don't want too many people on your job to know what you do. You want your left hand know. You don't want your left hand to know what your right hand doing. So I decided to do a sit down out here in my vehicle, and plus it's raining. I wanted to go to the park and do a lesson, but the Heavenly Father, he gonna do it his way. So he put the spirit in me, to do it. Put out a lesson here in my vehicle. So I want to. I saw this morning, and it's like it's biased, and a lot of these guys that are against what Shannon Sharp. I'm not gonna go into what he supposedly have done, supposedly have threatened her. I want to talk about the age factor between or a older man and the younger woman, and it has always been like that. During the time, during the biblical time, during the time of Moses and Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, or in other words, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then down the line, Moses. Um, Men had younger women, and especially if they came on their flower, it was you can deal with that woman if she came on her flower. So when a woman come on her flower, at the age, at some come early, but she is considered a woman after she get on her flower. But in biblical time, the age for a young woman and a young man was 12 years old. They were considered grown. Not grown, but they was like today, 18, 19-year old, right? And tell you what, let me just go to that scripture where reach her flower. and our men and women, 2/3 of our men and women, they are so much against an older man with a younger woman. And the deal is, if you look at it, the older man is going to have more substance than the younger man. He's already seasoned. He already, pretty much did what he wanted, and he's laid back, and he got him a young woman, you know, and there's nothing wrong with having a young woman, especially if she's young and she got an old spirit. You cannot beat that, you know. But I'm going to play this video here, but let me just read this here. It says here, I think it's First Timothy. I don't know why I keep on going over here. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. But if any man think that he behave himself uncomely towards his virgin, a young woman that never had sex, if she pass the flower of her age, meaning, if she had a cycle already, she came, blood, came from her, came from between her legs, her cycle. So she is considered a woman that she can, bear children. And in some cases, there were some women that had a cycle and they couldn't bear children, you know, and need so required, let him do what he will, he sinneth not. Meaning, well, here it is right here. Let them marry, and marriage in biblical means sex. So, um, and this here had to be a young girl. But let me go into the let me go right here to the go to the Good News Bible, and this is 36. Said, in this case of an engaged couple, engaged, they haven't had sex or whatever. Sex is marriage, and like I said, they both haven't touched each other yet. We'll just say it like that. So they was engaged, to get it in, right? Who have decided not to marry, so they decided not to, have sex just yet. If the man feels that he is not acting properly towards the young woman, and if his passion are too strong, and he feels that thou art to marry, so let's say a couple, they have not did anything, then all of a sudden the male, you know, he decide that, man, she's starting to look good to me. Now he's starting to, wanting to be around her. He hugging on her, he kissing her and stuff like that. You know, and he's ready to get down. Everything, like her chest, her breasts, her butt, it's starting to get voluptuous. It's starting to get big. It's looking juicy to him. And as the Bible says, it says that if the man feel that he is not acting properly, see, properly would be, okay, they already agreed not to do anything, and he keeping his composure. He's not, acting like he want to get at her. It's a platonic, friendship at the time. But now he's not acting properly because now he's feeling on her. He's touching her. He's lusting for her. You know, he's holding her from the back. A lot of guys have did it in the past. Get you and your high school or your junior high sweetheart or whenever you start dating. Guys would go behind the girl and hug her, and you know what what the guy doing. But anyway, trying to keep it PG. So it say if the man feel that he is not acting properly toward the young woman, and if his passion, his lust, are too strong, and he feel that they ought to marry, then he shall get married as he want to. There is no sin in it. And normally, this here would be an older guy with a younger girl. You know, this would be an older guy with a young woman. Now, I just googled this up. A young woman was considered 12 years old. It said from 17 to 22. But let me just go to it. I already got lined up. Hopefully I didn't. Oh, here it is. So check this out. In the Bible, a young woman typically referred to a female around the age of 17 through 22, though some instances suggest even younger age, like 12, were considered marriageable because she have gotten, she received her flower, you know. So it says here, let me just read it here. The Bible generally considered women to be mature faster than men, with adulthood often associated with the onset of puberty. While the Bible doesn't explicitly state or specifically add for adulthood. So let me see what's here. And like I said, you can go to AI. I found this here on AI. Google it. A young woman was considered. A young woman was considered. As a young woman was considered at what age? Should like you for that. So you can just put that down in Google, and it'll pop up. AI will bring it up. So a young woman was considered 12 years old, and you had men that was in their 20s and 30s that married a girl that was 12 years old. You know, so let me just prove these celebrities here, because these guys here that you're about to see, and I like Corey Holcomb, but to each their own. Corey Holcomb, well, you'll see it, and you got this Charlemagne the God, and these other guys, they are, they going along with the women, But let me just be quiet and let me just play this here. Hopefully it'll play. No idea. Why a 54-year-old man is dating a 19, 20-year-old? Right? I wouldn't be comfortable with my daughter, who is 20, dating someone his age, but that's also not illegal. She's grown, but I'm saying, what are you talking to her about? What are you talking to a girl who's 20 and Caucasian about, and you're an elderly black man? You gonna go to the gym and find a girl straight off of the prom floor. Literally just took off her prom dress. Which I hate. I hate that a 56-year-old man is hitting on a 20-year-old at the gym, like going after young women who are younger than your daughters. It's pretty gross. He really thought them muscles made him something special. We need discipline and stability. And I ain't talking about just Shane. I'm just talking about all of us in general. Men need discipline and stability. Find you one woman and settle your ass down, okay? My grandfather told me something at a very young age. Shut your damn mouth. I have no idea. Now you see, a lot of these guys are straight up hypocrites also. They're straight up hypocrites. Because the reason why I'm saying that they are is this here. These men have had younger women before, right? If you had your choice of getting a old car or a brand new car, most people are gonna get that new car. Most people are gonna get that new car. Would you rather have old clothes or new clothes, new shoes or old shoes? Would you rather have an old house or a new house that is built firm and satisfying to how you want your house to be. Ain't nothing wrong with a man dealing with a younger woman, and the deal is they got young women going into the army, getting ready to fight in a war. They have no issue with that, but they have an issue with a older man dealing with a younger woman. But a woman at 18 can go fight for this country and go out there and get great, take the G off and spell the rest. Because a lot of time if they see a female, they already, a hard on, ain't had a woman in months, and out there on the battlefield, they probably won't kill her. They probably womb her in the leg or something, and then come get her and stitch her up, and then they're gonna put her in some hole somewhere and have their way with her. But they okay with a 18, 19-year-old or 20, 21-year-old woman going to war, which she's not supposed to be in war. But they are highly disappointed when a 54-year-old man want to seek a 21-year-old woman. Her body type. Her she's she's fresh. What I mean by fresh, she at 21, now don't get me wrong, a lot of these women 21 do have a lot of bodies, and there are some 21 that don't have a lot of bodies. And what I mean is, dealing with a lot of men, because to be honest with you, a lot of men do not want to deal with a woman that had too many bodies on her, or known out in the street, for her sexual actions, her sexual ways. A man wouldn't mind. See, in biblical time, men wanted a virgin, and women wanted to be a virgin for that man. Women wanted older men. It just this society have trained our men. Some, not all, have trained our men to only deal with the woman of your age. That's bullshit. Now, if you love a woman and she's your age or a little bit older, whatever, that's your business. And it should be your business if you deal with a woman that's 10 years younger than you, that's 20 years younger than you. There's nothing wrong with that. That man, most men that's 10 or 20 years older than their girlfriend or wife, not such a thing, girlfriend, their wife, they're gonna most of them gonna be somewhat established. They're gonna have a house already, probably already paid off, or or at the back end of his payments. He about to get through with it. He probably have a couple of vehicles and money in the bank or whatever. His Johnson still work. And we know part of a lot of men Johnson ain't working is because what they put in our food, our drink, put in our air, that affect men. A lot of women don't understand that. They want to try to shame a man if his Johnson don't work right. But when the Johnson do work right and he wearing your ass out, then you don't want him to go nowhere and issue it out to another woman. you know, and a man can deal with multiple women if he choose to, you know. But going back to the older man that have things, he's more he's laid back, he's willing to take care of you, and if a child come up, he's gonna be there for the child, you know. Not saying that a young man won't do that, or don't have substance like an older man, but most older men gonna have all that you need. And then when he's dead and gone or whatever, guess what? The house already paid for, the vehicle's already paid for, and and if he love you, he'll have a life insurance policy, for you and her. for you and him, Salakia, you know. And if it's three, four, $500,000, he leave you with that, and the house, everything paid for, you pretty much set, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong with a younger woman wanting to get with a younger man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with nothing. But they will society will agree and won't say nothing about a transformer, won't say anything about two men laying together, two women laying together. That's their business. They always say that it ain't bothering me, but the Bible tells you it's an abominable thing. The Bible tells you that. you know since I'm on that, we're gonna go to what is it, Leviticus chapter 18. If people are more accepting to that right there, and a lot of these women, the reason why they act the way they act, and try to put shame on men for dating women a whole lot younger than them, is because these women, they had their time in the sun at 21. Well, let's go back. At 15, 16, on up to 21, all up to 30. Guys with money, sending them around the world, and guys with money just doing anything, to them and for them. And then you got the thugs too, you know. And when their bodies all wore out, and now they tired of all that, their bullshit that they were going through. Now they want to get with a guy, that got something, and their age, and now they want to settle down with a person of their age because they don't want to grow old by themselves, and the guys their age don't want them, you know, and the guys her age, they want younger women, and it's a problem with a lot of these women. So they want to shame a man for dealing with a young woman, but there's no shame when a woman dealing with a young man. They don't see that. It's a go girl, do your thing, you know. But when it come down to a man, that's a shame. Robbing the cradle, you know. It's like I say, it's a double standard when it come down to the so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. It says here, back to the homosexual, because 2/3 of our people, they in agreement with that. It don't bother me. They can do what they want, right? But when an older man like Shannon Sharp want to get with a 21-year-old Edomite, it's a problem, And women got a problem with so-called black men dealing with white women. First thing they say, ain't your mama black? But when a black woman, so-called black woman, get with a white guy or whatever, they'll haul out and say, that's my king. That's my shining knight in armor. Oh, girl, go ahead. Y'all two look good and all this and that. But Leviticus 18:22, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It's abomination, right? But our people, they go along with that. They okay with that, right? Let's go to we're gonna go right here. It said Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed abomination, something that's disgusting, defiled. But our people say, I see nothing wrong with that. So they love seeing something disgusting as two men, and something as defiled as two men getting in. That's, anyway, they should surely be put to death. Now, this is the word of the Lord. And you talking about it don't bother you. If the Heavenly Father want to put them to death, it should bother you, Their blood shall be upon them. Hell, Lot and what Sodom and what's the other, Sodom and Gomorrah, he was vexed with that. He was angry with that. He was disgusted with that. And he had to live in the city where he saw that every damn day. Lot is a part of the elect. Lot was a righteous man. And whoever say that it doesn't bother me, you're not part of the elect. You're not a righteous man. If you're a righteous man, a part of the elect, hopefully Yahweh Bashem Shah, I am, and whoever listening, you are. If you are in agreement with what I'm saying, well, not what I'm saying, what the Bible's saying. You know, we hope that we are part of the elect. You know, and if you agree to this, you are considered a righteous man because you going along with Yahweh Bashem Shah. This is His word. And it's just crazy that our people can agree with this, with the trans and all this other stuff, but when a man, Jake want to deal with a young woman, it's a problem, you know. And this guy here, Solomon Gamay or whatever, the God or whatever, he want to put more hell on us. Talking about, check this out. Let me just go to the part where he said that we need more discipline. He got the power to make that happen. He already got laws pertaining that a man can't deal with another woman if he married, by law. That's why it's not good for a man to get married on this side. Because once you get married on this side, you sign that paper, you are giving up. Matter of fact, you giving the woman your rod and your balls. And you are on a dog leash. Because with Esau laws, if a man go and get with another woman, he step out, he loses. And a lot of women, they agree with that law. They like that because they know a man's appetite for another woman is a lot higher than the woman. A woman, she can go for a year or two without getting any rod. Ain't no man gonna do anything like that unless he behind bars. And it's not healthy for a man not to have sex, that damn long. He was made to release. That's why the Heavenly Father gave man the power, the choice to have multiple women. And it's not just only for that. When your wife is on a cycle, she got to be out the house for damn near 2 weeks. And he created man. He know how the fleshly cardinal man is, that he's going to be in need. So he granted us the option to have another woman if he choose to. Look at the men in the Bible that had multiple wives. It's there. But Esau, he's contrary to the Bible, and he put much hell on men. Men today are sexually deprived. And that's why men have to turn to porn. Men have to, spend money on what you call these OnlyFans, and buy feet pics. And I mean, it's almost like men have become very desperate behind women because of how society made women. As they say, 20% of men is having sex with 80% of the women, and 80% of the men are sexually deprived. So this should have to change, and also part of this system, this plan that Esau put together, is to depopulate, is to depopulate the Israelites, and he making it hard. And then this guy here, he gonna sit up here and say that we need to be more disciplined. Then Esau, he would take what you say and throw that in your face and sit down and be tied down to one woman. Listen, let me just go to it. Let me just go to it. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Why a 54-year-old man is dating
because he wants to. He's old enough. He can do that. That's his right. That's his, like Bobby Brown said, that's his prerogative. So let me go back. There it is right there. Come on.
Special. We need discipline and stability. And I ain't talking about just Shane. I'm just talking about all of us in general.
See, don't put me in that. Now, discipline for us being in the Bible, yes. Keeping the word of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, yeah, that's the discipline right there. You know? But this other shit, Salaki, let me do something right quick. And I'm coming to you next. See something right quick. And Salaki, I'm just now coming in from work. So I just had to, like to do my sit down out here. But so check this out. He said men need discipline and stability. Discipline in the Bible, stability, as it says in Isaiah. Tell you what, let me go with the men need discipline, right? Okay. We're gonna go to Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, but so I can read it back over again. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the miracles of Yahweh, that ye present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. So that's the discipline. Let's go to what is it? Is it 2 Timothy 2? Where it says here, the point is in 3. I'm gonna read 1 through 3. 2 Timothy 2:1. Therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Humashiach Yahweh Shai. Be strong. He talking about discipline. Discipline is being strong, holding on to Lakia. Hold on, give me 1 second. Salakia. So, we have to be disciplined. We got to be strong, And those of you to be disciplined, you got to be strong, right? Be strong in the grace that is in Humashiach Yahweh Shai. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Humashiach Yahweh Shai. So we're going to be faced with challenges, of our own people and the enemy and Esau. He has a short time. He's going to come in like a flood. So we got to endure. We got to be disciplined. We've been disciplined right now to harden our mind so that we won't go berserk like a lot of you 2/3 will, because you don't know what's going on. You're not even trying to take heed. You too busy doing videos about this occult, and I got out of it. Okay. All right, well, stay out. That just give us brothers and sisters a good time, a better chance to be part of the elect. You come in, you leave. Hey, that's on you. So it says that men need discipline and stability, right? Now we're gonna go to Isaiah 33:6. This is gonna be the stability of our time. Knowing these scriptures, because like I said, some of us, we're not gonna be able to carry this around or our cell phone, because they all got trackers on them. Some of us might be able to carry a pocket Bible or something like that. That's if if you think about, if it happened through the night and you just see and you grab it, but in most cases people gonna be trying to get out, get out of Dodge. Says Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. We fear the Lord. We believe on Yahweh Bashim Shai. We know we get knowledge and wisdom from Yahweh Bashim Shai in order to teach, in order to have faith. The Heavenly Father, he present his love to us, and his love that he present to us is this word. This is love right here. This is true love. Because he said that if, he said that we are worms, we have no protection. But his word is his shield and butler. That's the protection that he's going to grant some of us that believe and keep the faith. And I'm talking about only the portion of the elect, not the 2/3. So let me just play this a little bit.
Men need discipline and stability. Find you one woman and settle your ass down, okay? My grandfather told me something.
Now, find you one woman and settle your ass down. Even he can't do that. One of my favorite comedians, which you just saw, Corey Holcomb, he can't do that. And Corey Holcomb, he deal with younger women too and older women. He deal with a mixture of older women and younger women. Maybe not as 21, but I don't know the man. But I guarantee you this right here. This woman, let's say one of these three guys met a woman that was 21, 22 or whatever, and she is legal and she got an old soul and can cook her ass off, and she got that soft gentleness about herself, very, very feminine, about herself. She listens to you, she rub your back, and you don't even ask for it, and she play in your hair. She desire you. Ain't no way a man in his 50s is going to turn that down. Ain't no way. Let them come across a righteous, virtuous woman. You'd be a damn fool to turn that down. And like I said, there's some women that are out there that are virtuous women, but a whole lot of them not. Ain't nothing wrong with Shannon Sharp dealing with a 21-year-old woman. Ain't nothing wrong with R. Kelly dealing with these younger women. It's a law out that you can't. And that's the only thing. But in the Bible, if we were going by biblical time, R. Kelly wouldn't be in the prison. Because I don't think, now, I think the youngest age that he dealt with, I think was 14, 15 or something like that. If, like I said, only, people that know his story will probably, say it might have been about, I'm guessing about 14 maybe, or what, 12, I'm not 12, 13, 14. I don't know. But biblical standpoint, he wouldn't be in jail. This is just Esau. Esau, he want to draw the line on what you can do and what you can't do. And a lot of our people wholeheartedly, go by that system. Now, we do got to go by the laws of the land. Now, do I want to date a person under the age of 17, under the age of 16, under the age of 14, 13, and all that? Hell the fuck no. Because in this society, Esau would throw your ass in the pen, and then what them brothers going to do in there to you, or you like dealing with little girls, And the deal is, them guys in the pen, the audacity for you now to want to be righteous. You committed all types of crimes, probably, unalive a man over his woman or whatever, or, stole something, did all type of wicked stuff. But when it come down, man, dealing with an underage girl, then you want to go ahead and be this righteous guy. Man, go sit down somewhere, But anyway, and like I said, let me just show you this right here, Salaki. Let me get out of this here. Now, this here what I want to go to also. Now you have, hold on, let me see something right quick. Now you have white men. You got white men that deal with younger women. Do anybody blink an eye on that? Do anybody go into an uproar behind that? Why isn't the Israelite man, especially Jake, why did he have the issues with him dealing with a young woman? Why all the pain and agony and the dislike go to him? When you see these 80 this 80-year-old man right here to your left, said this young woman, beautiful model, married, an older rich tycoon. Their story ended tragedy. You know. Then you have one right here, young scammer. And this is listen, she's a scammer. Got with his old man. I guess his old man, he wasn't as dumb as he appeared. I guess he went on and he went on and had his heritage, his money protected. Said young scammer married a wealthy old man to gold dig, but when it came time to receive the inheritance, she was not. I mean, she says inheritance what she got was, and then you got to go look at it. So you got these old men, young women. Here's another one right here. Wealthy women, I mean famous women who married much older men. Another one, 24-year-old young white woman. Maybe I need to take my airplane mode off. But anyway, here's some more. There's another old white man, above 50 years old, and these women here in their 20s, maybe 30s. There's another one. 1,000-old men, young wife, royalty. And this right here, like two men. That's what it looked like right here. Young woman married, old man, high rise or whatever, stock photograph or whatever. But that's supposed to be a woman. That to me, that look like a man right there. You ain't shit. My eyes ain't playing games with me on that one. Old man, young wife. Look at this. Look at this. And what's the guy? Playboy. Don't nobody say anything about him. He have nothing. Listen, this man here, I think he was in his 84, 85, something like that when he died. And he had a house full of young women. And when they reach, I believe, the age of 30 or 35 or whatever, or 40 or whatever, he booed them out the house. And he replenished the house with nothing but young snow bunnies all in the house. But y'all have an issue with a 54-year-old man dealing with a 21-year-old woman. There's Anna Nicole with her a tycoon billionaire, and then this guy here, he dated the woman in the picture here that he raised as his daughter. Where's the uproar in that? Like I said, our so-called black women, when they had their fun in the sun and they lay down with hundreds of men and travel all over the world and got their body all used up and everything sagging, everything don't look as voluptuous like it used to. And listen, I know age, it affects everybody, but there are some good looking 50-year-old women. There are some good looking 60-year-old women. They live right, and what I mean by living right, they ate right. They went out there all through the night partying. They wasn't smoking and drinking every damn night. They kept they kept themselves in the gym. They ate right. They did what it took, or it could be just good genes. So a lot of these 50 and 60-year-old women, some of them that are fit right and look good, they do have younger men. I've seen it. And there's no uproar in that. And I don't see no issue with that. I don't see no issue with a younger man with an older woman. But it's always the issue with the other way around. So here you go. See? More old white men, younger women. See, they can have fun. They can, they can still get with young women. And we all know it's due to money. Come on. We all know that. Now, check this out. This is the point here that I want to hit on too. Now, check this out. Out of all these old men with young, attractive white women, Asian women, as you can see at the left and the top right there, as you can see. Then they got Jake looking like a dead black man in the face with his, he can't even close his mouth, looking all simple. With an old woman. Now check this out. Young man. He's a young man compared to that right there. But hell, he sure do look sickly. A young man married an old millionaire for money. I guess that would do it. But I want you to just look at this here. And look at their show. They always show the black man marrying an old ass white woman. See, look, a black woman wouldn't have no issue with this here. It's only an older black man dealing with a younger white woman or any other race on the planet because he dealing with a younger woman. But they had no problem with Jake dealing with a old woman. Look at this. Look at this here. This all that you see right here. This all that you see. You see one young guy, and then they make this woman here, this 80-year-old white woman, look somewhat appealing compared to. Look at that. Compared to that. Look at that. Compared to that. Look at that. They always give us the worst of the women. Boy, I'm telling you, Esau have a perpetual hatred towards us. He give us the worst of the women and the oldness of the woman. Let me just show you. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? Let me show you an example. Let's go to where is it? Get out of here. Let's go right here. Now check this out. And I've been knowing this here for a minute. Good time. Florida and James, right? Don't you know that Florida was damn near 20 years older than James? Let me hold on. Where's my information? And I wrote that down. See, this is what Esau. See, Esau want to make shame. He want to make fun of Jake. He don't want Jake to have the best of the best of the best. Esau, he can have the best of our women and their TV shows and their movies as their girlfriend, as their wife. But when it come down to us, just give him a overweight, old, no hair on their head, teeth, gap and look like a doggone bull in the face, and he, Jake, he got to hug and kiss her right there on the screen, knowing, and when you look at James Evans' wife during that time, he had a nice looking white woman with her family, but they give him, and like I said, Florida, now, there's nothing wrong with a small afro. Now, when I saw a picture of Florida, and she had on like a hourglass dress, Florida had a body on her. She really, truly did. She had a body on her. And I'm talking about she was packing back there in the back too. But when they set her up on this ghetto TV show here, they made her look ghetto and made her look, you know, not desiring enough for James to even be with. And James had to sit there and not deal with what's the word girl name, Florida or whatever. They should have had Florida as his wife, but they didn't. They didn't want her to be that. They want her to be that gossiping hen. You know, Esau know us, but hear what I'm saying. Let me just take this off airplane mode, right? And hold on, cause I did have the paper in here, but now I might have to just go to it. Now watch, everybody gonna call in, and I'm about to get that off real quick. Put it back in airplane mode, cause I don't want no interruption. How much older was Florida Evans than James Evans on Good Time? See that? See that? Florida Evans was 19 years older than James Evans on the Good Time show. Esther Rowe, who played Florida, was 53 years old when the show began, while James, who played Salaki, John Amos, John Amos, who played James, was 34. Esther Rowe's birth year was 1920, and John Amos was 1939. I mean, come on, this here was systematically done so that the man can always feel like a boy with his woman. She old enough to be his mama. See, but there's no issue with that. An older woman playing the wife to a younger man. That's 19 years different. He did that because he always wanted to make the man, like he's always a boy around his woman because she's much older than him. That's his mama. Shit, she's old enough to be his mama. Now that's uncomfortable. Damn, she's 19 years older than me. I'm James 34, and he got to deal with a woman 53 and kiss and hug and pretend like that he loved this woman. Let's go to another one. How old was George Jefferson than Weezy Jefferson? How much older was Weezy Jefferson to George Jefferson? Wow. Here you go. In real life, actress Isabel Sanford, who played Louise Jefferson on the show, was approximately 21 years older than Sherman Hemsley, who played George Jefferson, while the show script and character portrayed a significant age gap. This was greater. This was even greater in real life. So, what Edomite TV show where they do a white man like this have an old woman being a wife, and I'm just saying, what other race have done this? It's to shame the man. Like he can't get no young woman. He got to get a woman around about his mama age. Boy, I'm telling you, the way Esau hate us, and then he had programmed the simps and our women, to go against men that love young women. I'm telling you, going back, if it's still there, it's probably gone now. Hold on, give me 1 second. See, going back to this right here. Praises too. So, like, hold on, let me Go to the other one. So going back to this right here, and I would call even Corey Holcomb, because this is just straight up simp right here. On, I'm not saying that he is a simp, but the way he was saying that, what type of conversation, how can you get a conversation out of a 21-year-old? You can get a conversation out of a 21-year-old if she mature enough, she know what's going on in the world. Now, for you being an older man, you can give her some game. You can educate her on how you want things done, rather than a woman bickering and tell you, I know it, you ain't got to tell me all this. I'd rather have a woman that I can tell her what I like and what need to be done, and she's taking it, taking it to mind that this is how I want things around the house, and she obeying it. And the deal is, let's go back to the scriptures. Let's go back to the scriptures. Genesis 3:16. And I'm go to that next. But let me go to Ecclesiastes. I think it's 26:25. No. So give me 1 second to find that. Like I said, all through the Bible, men have dealt with younger women. It's just today's society, you know, starting with Esau, because he had our people believe in this. Just like those people in the video. If we was in biblical time, or even during the time of King Solomon, you wouldn't have these type of talking. It's just Esau have trained our men and women to feel and believe their way. Listen, if you study the Bible and you know the Bible, you know that a man, you know that that's not the way of the Bible. And like I said, those celebrities that you just saw on film, they was taught and they was systematically educated to believe that through Esau ways. Biblically, during the time of King Solomon and farther back, people went along with it. People didn't see no harm in that. People didn't see no harm in a man having 3, 4, 5 wives, 10 wives. It wasn't a big deal at all, because when they grew up, they saw that. They saw a 1 man and 3 women, or 4 women, or 5 women in the house. And it wasn't no issue if they saw a 12-year-old girl with a 25-year-old man or a 30-year-old man. And he's taking care of her, feeding her and clothing her, and he teaching her on how he want things done in the house and how he want things done to him, so that she can take care of him. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just in today's eyes, we have been trained by Esau to look down on that. And this is what these people are doing. They looking down on our heritage, on our culture, because our culture is in the Bible. This is what a woman and a man, how they operate in biblical times. But you tell these people here, oh man, they be ready to gun you down, because they got so much of Esau ways in their mind. They can't open their mind up to understand this. But they'll understand. Well, she's 21, she's legal, but I still don't like it. Man, fuck that. Shit. But like I said in the beginning, you'll salute her to go off to war to get killed, rather than being with an older man and the man taking care of her and providing for her, so that she ain't got to go out there and try to get a house on her own. He's taking her in, he's loving her, he's feeding her, they going on trips. But you would salute and say you're doing a good job going off to war. But when a man want to get with a young woman, they want to break that up, or something wrong with him for dealing with a younger girl. And most of you women that are in your, that 21-year-old, y'all love older men. Yeah, if an older man 50 or 60-year-old living in Dubai give you pay for your flight to come out there and he'll take care of you. Y'all ass be first thing on the, y'all be on the first thing smoking. But nothing said to them. Why won't y'all tell these girls to quit dealing with these older men then? Yeah. The older man, he's still living, his rod's still working. Hell, he wants to go and see can he pull a young chick. He want to know how it feel to be with a young woman, because he probably hadn't been with a 20-year-old woman in years. He probably been with, 40s and 50s, you know, if you 50 or 60 years old. Now he want to go back to see, let me see, can I pull a 21-year-old? Ain't nothing wrong with that. So let me just go, let me see, can I find this here? Yeah, 20, because when a man teaches a woman, he teaches her what he want, what he need to, what he need for her to do to keep, because she, biblical time, the women was keepers of the house. So in order to keep your house in order, you had to train your woman, to keep your house in order, right? Ain't that? Hold on, give me 1 second. Is it 34 or 36? Yeah, 36 and 24. He that getteth a wife beginning a possession, a helpmate like unto himself, a pillar of rest. So when you have a helpmate, you got to tell her what things need to be done, how you like it, how you want it. It's just like a apprentice. Like at my job, a mechanic, a young mechanic. When he come in, he got to be taught, he got to be trained. And the older mechanic, he would ride him around, and whatever machine or whatever he working on, the apprentice would be there with tools in hand, and he would show him how it's done. You know, don't take shortcuts. Do this, do that. And there's nothing wrong, because the Bible said that he that get his wife is a possession. Possession is ownership. Now we ain't gonna treat our woman, like the white man treat us in slavery. A lot of women will look at that. This ain't slave. You can't tell me what to do. And see, that's an unlearned woman, because she's supposed to be told what to do. That might sound harsh, but hey, when in biblical time, when a woman, she was under the head, she was under the head of her father, and when he gave her away, she under the head of that husband. You have no right to even go against that. That's biblical. A virtuous woman will understand that, and she will be in order. See, a hard-headed woman, she got to go out there and hustle and bustle in them streets. She got to go to work every day. And I know in this day and time, a woman, she do have to go to work, because Esau set it up like that. But in biblical time, if a woman didn't want to listen, you know she didn't want to be married, or she didn't want to get married or whatever, hey, she would be out there by herself. And as she got older, did no man want her. She'll be an old maid by herself, did no man want her. And it was looked down upon. Women was looked down upon if she didn't have a husband. If she was by herself, she didn't have no baby, she was looked down on as less of a woman. So this is what I meant. You at the age of 12, most young women at the age of 12 is in they are what you call they interested in learning. They interested in what you like. And it's just like a young child, when they first start to, when they getting ready to go to work, their first job, they excited about getting that paycheck, and they would do damn near almost anything, to keep their job. And when they get their money, they so excited, you know, they very impressionable. They'll do damn near almost anything, because they want to make that money and they want to get things, for themselves, shoes, a video game or whatever, right? So that young woman that a man married, she need to be taught because she don't know too much of nothing from what her mama and daddy taught her. But when she come into the other man's house, her mama will already have taught her how to clean, how to cook, and stuff like that. But he had to teach her on what she need to do for him. So she become his possession. And you can't look at it, women, as this you're being too harsh. You got to listen. Don't take this out on me. You got to take it up to the good Lord. He'll straighten you out. He'll go ahead and break you loose from the man that you got. And then when a hell break loose, then you have no covering, you have no protection. Then you're gonna be calling on somebody to come get you. So you women, your desire, you know, is your husband, right? Let's go to this here. Um, I'm trying to see why that world star symbol is up top. You see Genesis 3, and then right up to the left, you see a world star symbol. Hmm. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this here. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply the sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. And you don't see a whole lot of that. A lot of these women, they put down men. They don't want to. They don't want to get married at an early age. They want a career. They want to, push that to the side and deal with multiple men. Then they feel that that they can desire a man. But hell, you got too many. You desire too many men at from the age of 15 to 39. You supposed to desire one man for the rest of your life. Now, when Charlemagne the God, when he said that men need to be disciplined and what's the other word? Um, and have some stability or something like that. Yeah, discipline and stability. Hey, that right there should go to you. You need to be disciplined, you know. But our women today are not. Most of them not. They're not. And men, it go for the man too. You don't want to. You want to deal with other men and women. You got to be disciplined. You got to control that. You know. But we're gonna go back to the time where all our women is going to be virtuous. As it states in what Numbers? Is it Numbers? Yeah, I think it is Numbers. Hold on. I want to make sure. No, that ain't it. A virtuous woman. What chapter? Proverbs 30 or 31. I think, yeah, 30. Yeah, 31 and 10. You can read that right there. A lot of women need to read this here. Proverbs 31 and 10, read it all the way down. This is how the Heavenly Father wants you to be. But a lot of you, because the Heavenly Father know you. A lot of you are this right here. Amos 7 and 17. Therefore, thus said the Lord, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city. And when my mom was living, she was one too. When my grandmother was living, she was one too, because both my mother and my grandmother, they both had multiple men in their life. My brother have a different father, and that man, I think he just finally, my older brother father just finally, I think, died maybe about 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. I think no. I think yeah. He my older brother father died. I think around about the same time my father died. So they both were living, and the woman's supposed to be with one man for the rest of her life, unless her husband dies, then she can go to another man. That's the way it's supposed to be. But the Heavenly Father knew that over here in Babylon that our women were going to be harlots. Don't feel bad. The deal is you didn't know. A lot of our women don't know the Bible. A lot of our women wasn't taught the correct way of the Bible. A lot of our women wasn't raised up in the house where it was an example of how a virtuous woman should be. Same with the young men. When we came up, we wasn't taught 100% righteous, for the Bible. Now we understood thou shalt not steal and kill and all this other stuff. But what about how a woman's supposed to be a virtuous woman? They wasn't teaching that in the church. They wasn't teaching, Titus, chapter 2. They wasn't teaching, First Timothy, I want to say 2 and 12, 13, 14. You know, they wasn't teaching none of that, and a lot of the things they wasn't teaching. You know, but now that we got the understanding, and we got teachers through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shah teaching us this truth, this knowledge and this righteous knowledge and wisdom of this Bible. Now we know we have woken up. Our eyes have been opened to those that will accept this and run with it. Just like what I'm talking about. Back in biblical time, it was a shame for a woman to be old with no man and no children. It was a righteous and a popular thing for a young woman from the age of 12 on up to 22. Because when I read it said 17 to 22, but in some cases it was 12 on up to 22, and from 12, from really beyond with from birth to 22, those women, those young women, they were straight virgins. You had to be a virgin, because if you wasn't a virgin, you was looked at, you were frowned upon. There's one particular chapter a story in the Bible where this man thought this woman, he thought that she wasn't a virgin, and he hated her, and the girl father had to present that cloth, that when her and him got together, that it was blood on that cloth, that she was a virgin, and he torn her, I forgot what they call it, when a woman has sex for the first time, and I guess the lip part of her vagina, whatever, torn or stretched or whatever, and it bleeds. You know, so he had to go to the elder and present his that token. They had her blood on there, and the guy, was found guilty. He had to pay the father, I guess, some money or whatever. You know, so we're going to go back to those times, and because the way of Esau is going to be over with. Our thinking is not going to be what you just see here of how these men, full grown men, that have an issue with wanting to get with a young tender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And if your young tender is a woman that's older than you, listen. I have a wife that's older than me, and I have another wife that's younger than me. Now, are we legally married? No, because I don't believe in Esau system. Because Esau system, if you get married, guaranteed, and if you have appetite for more women, you're going to lose. I mean, I'm just point blank. You're gonna lose. So don't even sign no paper. Don't. I mean, if you want to buy a ring, so be it. But you don't have to do that neither. You know. But I'm gonna end it right there. That's all. I went too long. Well, this is the Sabbath. So hour and 15 minutes is good. It's a good sit down, and hopefully, you got something out of it, and just comparing how biased uh, but how biased the sexes is between men and women. A woman can get with a young man or old man, no problem. A man that get with an old woman is no problem. Once he get with a young woman, way younger, it's a problem. So y'all women and some of you weak simp men, y'all got to get over that. But like I said, in the kingdom, you ain't gonna be thinking like that. You're gonna be on the page. I mean, you're gonna be on your how about Shema side and thinking, because the law is gonna be in our inward part, and we're gonna deal with women at that age, 12 on up. But it'll be a stupid thing to do that now. Your ass will be under the jail. And I don't have no desire. Let me put this out here right now. I have no desire to deal with no 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old woman. Now, if the Lord put the spirit in me, to get another woman, and matter of fact, she got to be into me. She got to be into me. I'm not going to go after her. It's too much of a hassle, to get with a younger woman at 21, 22, 23 right now. It's too much of a hassle. And they want to experience this and experience that, and I've done that and did that. But if the Heavenly Father put the spirit in me to deal with a 21, 22, and she have a old spirit like my wife, both my wives, she got an old spirit, then yeah. But if she got one of those, I got to go to club every week. No, you go ahead and get somebody, that want a club every night. It's not me. I'm way past that. I never was into that. But anyway, not trying to put not trying to put my business out there. But I'm gonna end it right there. Hopefully it was edifying. See you on the next video. Shalom.